Good morning, this is Michelle Thompson, your academic and legal coach. And I am with Michelle Dion Thompson Coaching and Consulting. I worked as a lawyer and currently as an academic for many, many years. And I've learned a lot about writing in that time. And I love to spend 10 a.m. every Friday morning with you, passing on what I've learned about writing. Are you stuck somewhere with your writing? Is something not moving? And you can't figure out why? Perhaps these tips can give you a hand. So, welcome. So today, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about, and they're seemingly unrelated, I want to talk about plagiarism and self-care, and they are kind of unrelated, but we're going to carry on anyway. So, here's the thing. We don't live in a vacuum. We don't write and do our work in a vacuum. There is all manner of social, cultural, economic, political forces that thrive while we're doing what we're doing. Historians, and I'm an historian, don't really like to cop to the current factors that are going on, but they actually do deeply have implications for what we're doing. So this week, the political, cultural, social, and economic backdrop was actually dominated a lot by something that we talk about in academia, plagiarism. And more particularly, we saw Melania Trump borrow parts of Michelle Obama's 2008 speech that she gave about her husband at the Republican National Convention. Right? Now, who thought that plagiarism would take front and center in the news, but here we are. As academics, we know that plagiarism can have huge, huge consequences, including job loss. So we shy away from it. We make mistakes, but we know we can't do that because the consequences are so large. Which brings me to the question of citations. And I just want to review some resources for you as you write and you're trying to cite. The wonderful thing about writing in this particular point in time, as opposed to another time that I won't talk about too much because it says something about my age, is that we actually have resources that make citations so much easier. And most of you probably know about this, but I think it bears repeating, and the ways in which you can use this stuff, right? These bibliographic softwares can actually allow you to input your bibliography and then pull out particular resources as you need them as you write. You don't have to dig around very hard for them. They're right there. So I'm talking about resources such as EndNote, which is what I use. No one's sponsoring me to say that. It's just what I use. RefWorks and Zotero and so many others, right? And if you don't use one of them, play around with each of them. See how they work for you. RefWorks you can often access for free through your institution, and sometimes EndNote allows you to do that. As well if your institution is paid for that. EndNote allows you to carry your data in the cloud, so you can use it over multiple platforms, including the pad. My other reminder to you as you're trying to cite and write is that you do not chase down sources as you're writing. If you can't quite remember or get to the thing that you're trying to cite immediately, please just drop a footnote and write down, oh, for example, I think that's James, page 30, and move on. Like, don't do more than that. You can come back and clean them up. But you want to make sure that you know that this is something that actually needs to be cited. Of course, you're citing anything that is not your original thought. Okay, so that's enough about plagiarism and in the context of the swirling political climate around us. I want to switch to self-care, because I've noticed, as I post on this page, that many of you seem to be starving and are so eager to hear about self-care and the things that we need to do to come out of this process, whatever part of the pipeline you're in, sanely. I posted a little tidbit about myself, I guess about a week ago. I am actually trying to reset my body in a way that I actually really don't stand clinging to the ceiling all the time. I don't run that much anxiety, and in my day-to-day life I don't actually feel like I'm that anxious. But your blood tests still lie. So that's the context in which I've been thinking about self-care, a struggle that I have myself. here's the thing. Your writing isn't going to go well if your mind and body are not cooperating. Let me repeat that because I think it's really important. Your writing is not going to go well if your mind and body are not cooperating. There are other lists that I'm on, clients that I have who've said, oh, no, I've been trying to get tenure and I've been hospitalized in the process. And it's heartbreaking, right? It's like, this can't do this to you. And we're going to have to figure out other ways to get you to work smartly in a way that you can preserve yourself and reach your goals. And so that's what I'm referring to when I talk about self-care here. Because here's the thing, you'll only get so far if you have to quit. And what do I mean by quitting? Quitting can take on any number of forms, right? Quitting can mean nonstop eating. My personal favorite. Quitting can also mean nonstop sleeping. It can mean insomnia. I hate both. It can mean procrastination. It can be becoming emotionally tight, constant crying, severe anxiety. Now, I think I should say that if these are incredibly difficult, mirroring the signs of depression, you need to speak to a healthcare professional. But aside from that, you get the point, right? So here we are in what I like to call the summer semester. It is just a semester, it's just 16 weeks. But it's just that it's 16 weeks where we're not necessarily, I am right now, not necessarily teaching. So we have a little less on our plates and there are no meetings and the rest of it. So this is an opportunity to reset if you haven't already. It's an opportunity to start to build like basic self-care into how you approach your academic work. It's an opportunity to make sure that you sleep for 7 to 8 hours. It's an opportunity to make sure that you're eating well. And by that I don't mean your 300th box of Kraft Milk macaroni and cheese. No, I mean like real food with fruits and vegetables and grains and a protein. Like really eating well. It's an opportunity to make sure that you get some kind of exercise, including yoga. It includes resetting so that you have the opportunity to connect with supportive people who can cheer you on or pick you up when you're down. It's a time and an opportunity to make sure that you are not working nonstop and that you build in small breaks as you work. Going for a walk, deciding, I'm taking 2 hours to watch a movie, and doing things that unencumbered people do. My health coach talks about taking, let me see if I get this right, scheduled unstructured time, where I build into my calendar a couple of hours where I don't know what on earth I'm going to do at that time. And I do what the spirit moves me. And for me, that often means that I reach for my knitting needles or my crochet hook, right? And I'm staring in front of the TV. Unstructured time for yourself to recharge the batteries. So the challenge is taking these habits and then folding them into the fall. It's easier to do them in the summer, but in the fall, when all of the demands come in on you, how do you manage that, right? So here's my tip, to put a fine point on it. Take this time to do the rational things you need to do, that list that I had. Sleep, eat, good exercise, connection with people, friends, downtime. Do all of that rational stuff and make it a habit now. Make it a habit now, because then you're going to have to figure out how to fold them into your routine in the fall. And if they're habits now, you're going to want to continue doing them, right? If you do this stuff, your mind is going to be more creative and you'll be able to do more. Frankly, you'll be able to write more in less time because you give your mind time off, you give your body time to breathe, and then you can go, oh, what needs to happen is X, Y, and Z. And you actually can really drill down and do the kind of writing that you want to do. So, use bibliographic software if you're not already, and build in the basic self-care stuff. And we call it self-care now. There's a whole industry around this. It's really the business of eating, sleeping, connecting with people, and moving your body. That's it. So if you need help with any of this, contact me. Send me a message through this page. If you like this, go ahead, like my page. If you scroll down on the right side, you'll see something that says, I think something like email. That's a link to my academic newsletter, and if you're a lawyer, I will put in a link underneath the video for the newsletter for lawyers. I want to just make an announcement about um, a, an online opportunity. It's not online, it's by phone, an opportunity for you. I am going to lead a call on funding academic conferences with a particular focus on crowdsourcing. So if you have passed up conferences because you cannot figure out getting the money for them, this would be for you. If you go in the events tab on my page, you can find a tab for funding academic conferences, and you can register there. I would love to have you. I think it's an invaluable resource. Again, I'm passing on successful tips that I've learned. Every Wednesday, I host on Twitter. Twitter Talks. One is called One Academic Thing. It's on every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Twitter, where I invite you to talk about one thing that you would change about your academic life, and then stay for the conversation with other academics, and as we talk about and try to brainstorm solutions. I do the same thing for lawyers at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, One Legal Thing. So this is hashtag One Academic Thing, and then hashtag One Legal Thing. Same kind of discussion, the things that you would change about your life as lawyers, and then we get to talk about solutions for those problems. And make sure you include either hashtag One Academic Thing or hashtag One Legal Thing to make sure that you're a part of the conversation. I will be back here next Friday at 10 a.m. for your next writing tip. I look forward to seeing you. Have a great weekend.